Twice a month, the Met Office boldly predicts the weather 30 days ahead from their HQ at Bracknell in Berkshire. They've got 20,000 customers, all eager for their news, including farmers, builders, nationalised industries and schools. But most of us aren't quite so eager, because we think the forecasts are never right. But do we perhaps just remember the ones that we think are wrong?
January is likely to be colder than the seasonable average. Although 1 or 2 mild spells are likely, cold weather is expected to predominate.
January 1967 in London's Hyde Park, where people bathe and picnic. Elsewhere, roads to the coasts are packed in a sudden spell of warm weather.
December 1967. Settled and mostly dry spells may continue to be more frequent than usual. There are also expected to be more changeable spells with rain at times.
December 1967. The south and most of the country grinds to a halt in an unexpected and unannounced blanket of snow. But there was no mention of it in the long-range forecast. Why not?
All we try and forecast really is differences from normal. For instance, if we mention snow, this means we would either say it's going to be less frequent than normal or more frequent than normal. Well, in December, the average numbers of days of snow in southern England is about 3. So that if we were expecting roughly 3 days of snow this December, we shouldn't mention it. If we were expecting 10 days, we would have said snow more frequent than usual.
Making a long-range weather forecast is a serious business, and the weathermen don't take their responsibilities lightly. A computer called Comet is there to help them. The day before a forecast, it's fed with information about the last month's weather, and then it searches its memory for a previous month with similar conditions. The forecasters then look up what happened in that case and base their predictions accordingly. Comet has access to records going back nearly 100 years. But forecasting is still a human effort, worked out by discussion and debate. On the day of the forecast, 6 weathermen sit down to analyse the data, including the computer's output. The computer does do the daily weather forecast, but not the long-range one.
We can't, in fact, use the electronic computer in this way for several reasons. One of the reasons is that we haven't really a sufficiently good coverage of data over the world as a whole. But the main reason is that in order to carry out these computations which would be necessary, we should need a computer which is about 25 times as powerful as anything at present known in the world, and that includes America. So that at the moment we're in no position to try and compute the weather.
Well, quite honestly, how accurate do you really think it is?
25% of our forecasts are misleading and therefore really are basically worthless. But of course we do have our successes. 75% are, let's say, better than chance.
Normally the forecasts are written in a vague way, like a horoscope, so that they can rarely be found to be completely inaccurate. But they are in fact definite on 2 things, temperature and rainfall, and here they're usually correct. The Met men are aware of their mistakes, but they don't get much sympathy, even from their own kind. An article here says their forecasts are little more than blind guesswork, and that any intelligent layman could do just as well. So we tested this theory today.
A bit colder than what we've had it. Not quite as much snow as we had in 47, and a fairly good spring.
I think we're in for a harder winter than usual. My guess is, and a fair amount of snow.
I suppose much the same as usual December to January weather, except we'll have some snow, and I think it's rather unseasonably mild at present. Well, I'd say very cold, frosty and snowy.
If you were asked to predict the weather for the next 30 days, what would you say it would be like?
Lousy.
It has been said that, in fact, the long-range weather forecasts are just blind guesses, and that any intelligent layman could do just as well. What do you say to this?
Well, of course, that's not true. An intelligent layman might be able to do a little bit better than chance, but he wouldn't be able to beat us.